Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So I'm going to give you a brief update on this winter storm. This storm has been overproducing for sure. More snow has fallen than forecasted, and the snowfall forecasts for tomorrow and the rest of today have gone up. So this system definitely threw quite a few curveballs. There are some 2 feet plus amounts that fell across Wyoming, and it looks as if it's only halfway through. And if it moves into the northeast, that may be even a whole different situation. And I'll briefly go over that as well. But before we do get into this, if you guys do like weather-related content, check out the video, watch the video, check out the channel, and see if you would enjoy this channel. And obviously consider giving it a subscription. And if you are a returning viewer, liking the video is awesome. So let's start getting into this. Notice that a lot of the warnings advisories have expired across the northwest and northern U.S., Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota. A few winter weather advisories still lingering. But as we push further to the south, look at Colorado, Nebraska. These locations right here just got absolutely clobbered. More snow fell than predicted for sure across certain locations. And that may be a sign of what's to come across these locations, because some of the snowfall amounts forecasted for Texas, New Mexico, the Oklahoma, Kansas area are pretty scary. So let's start off by looking at the total snow that fell. Look how many snowfall reports there are. Quite a bit. And there was a batch of snow that moved into Minnesota today and into Wisconsin. That is snowing across Wisconsin. Generally lighter amounts, up to 3 inches. There were 1 to 3. But as you push towards South Dakota and into Nebraska, the eastern side got 4, 5 inches of snow. A few locations even a bit higher. But then as you got towards the front range of the Rockies, you could look at that. Northern Nebraska, northwestern Nebraska, 12 inches, 14 inches. There was a report right there. And as I said, Wyoming, almost 2 feet of snow, right around right there. That is quite a bit, and it's still snowing across those locations. South Dakota also did get quite a bit of snow, 14 inches in some locations, but in other locations, 5 inches. So a lot of variation, but more snow than expected. They were expecting maybe 7, isolated 8, 9, but they got 14 in some locations. So this may be a mess coming your guys' way towards you. If you live in panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas, and even into Missouri and Iowa, more precip's on its way. Let's look at the high resolution model. This is a model that is used for short range forecasting. It is specialized for short range. Goes out only to 18 hours on an hourly basis, but every 6 hours it goes out to 36 hours. But let's take a glance at this. So there was a good area of snow today across the plains. This moved into Wisconsin now, into the UP, producing quite a bit of snow. Let me tell you, this storm has been overperforming on almost every aspect. So that's just something we could have expected, especially since the first one was an overperformer. The second one was about as predicted, but this third one is definitely a beast. Let's take a glance at this. Notice that the precip dies down across the Midwest, though I think that the HER model is underdoing it. I think there will be more precipitation around. The snow, you could see, sends its next wave into portions of Iowa. We'll see how far this gets. This may affect Chicago, maybe not. At this point, it seems they'll have a hard time getting in there. But northern Illinois, definitely seeing some flakes. Wisconsin, Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, seeing possibly some snow. They really did get snow. I think it passed just to the north of them today. Oh, they did get a few amounts. That's a bit to the north. But notice that the intensity really is over here across Colorado into Nebraska and Kansas. And as we push this forward into really, really early, this is actually late tonight into early tomorrow. You obviously see that snow moving into Illinois. And look at that. We start seeing very, very heavy snowfall rates possibly erupting, along with ice and sleet across the panhandles of both Oklahoma and Texas. This is at around 2 o'clock in the morning Monday. So in a few hours, more than a few, 8, 9 hours as we're recording this video. And notice that New Mexico seeing bounds of snow. We see Colorado seeing a good dose of snow as well. Kansas, Nebraska. And look at that. Those are extremely heavy snowfall rates. While they may be mixing in with quite a bit of sleet and freezing rain, where it does snow, it will fall very heavily, especially since there's a lot of precipitation with this system. And it does look a bit less impressive because of the mountains that are kind of obstructing the radar view. Notice, though, we continue seeing the pumping of the moisture out into the plains, into Kansas, Kansas City, Missouri, possibly seeing some even heavy bursts of snow. And this is as far as it goes. Right there it stops. But notice we get a huge area of sleet, which is better than freezing rain. Impressive though, we do get some freezing rain, so very unfortunate news for travelers of any sort. And notice that we start seeing some heavy rain to the south and more snow across New Mexico and the panhandles. And if you were to take a glance at the model run that went out to 36 hours, this information is a bit old since it updates every hour, so this may not be 100% accurate, but generally similar story up until around the 18th hour. And you can see that this continues. Much of central Missouri seeing snow into tomorrow afternoon. This is 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Resurgence of snow across Kansas, the panhandles, more mixing going on. Continued snow across New Mexico. And this is now late Monday, early Tuesday. Another burst possibly of very heavy snow. So this thing will sit around here for a while, and let me tell you, this looks actually pretty interesting, obviously for just me to sit at home with none of this going on. But for the winter weather lovers, you will enjoy this, but for anyone else, pretty much this is a nightmare. Total snowfall, the locations, look at that snowfall right there across portions of New Mexico, northern New Mexico and Colorado. Absolutely absurd amounts of snow, almost 24, 30 inches of snow in some locations, plus 2 feet. And then, as I mentioned, pushing into Missouri, Kansas, we could be looking at some possibly 6 to 7 inch amounts with those heavier bursts. Again, this doesn't take us through the whole event. This is only a temporary model. Let's take a look at the high, or let's take a look at the long range models. And you can see this is the GFS. Shows a bit more snow, generally the same story, but continues pumping it out into all the way up until Thursday. So yeah, definitely a potentially a historic like snowstorm ongoing because just of the heavy snow that will be falling and how early it's going on as well. Notice this is the GFS, a long-range model. We see snow developing across the panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, into Missouri, and it looks as if this thing is about to fall apart, but then it resurges. So notice this is now early tomorrow morning, right? This is now afternoon tomorrow. We see snow widespread across Kansas, Texas, and again, these amounts have been conservative with some of these models, and when we're looking at 30 inches, it's hard to think that they're putting something conservative, but there may be still a bit more snow with this. And then notice, by Tuesday morning, we see snow move into Texas, the Panhandle, New Mexico, over the same areas. You get the point. This thing's stationary, pretty much stationary, and while it does so, it dumps a ton of precipitation, ton of snow. Combines with a potential tropical system from the south. This gives it even more moisture, but finally lifts it up from the south. Still ongoing snow as late as early Wednesday. And this finally moves out into the northeast, and this is where we could be looking at a next little disturbance or area of interest. Some models are showing quite a bit of snow out of this. The GFS didn't initially, then it did yesterday, now it stopped again, so it's still a bit of confusion. But again, this storm has been throwing curveballs of all sorts. Let's show you the total snowfall accumulations again, and look at that. Those are just really, really, really heavy amounts of snow, almost 2 feet in some locations, as indicated by even the high resolution model. GFS parallel, this is kind of a improved GFS model. You can see it shows a bit across the northeast with that secondary storm, or that same storm, just the second phase of it. But notice how much snow it puts out across Kansas, Missouri. Now, this does, I'm pretty sure, include sleet, so that may be, well, no, it just says inches, doesn't include sleet. So I wanted to go back here and actually look at the rain/frozen and briefly go over the differences that the models have. Generally the same story. The thing is with the GFS parallel, it extends it further to the east. More snow across Kansas, Missouri, Kansas City, those areas, St. Joseph. Seeing more snow out of that. And then it pushes into the south and it goes crazy. Texas, seeing loads of snow in the Panhandle, and it sits there for a while, resurging moisture. And finally, with the help of that tropical system, we see this push to the north. And this is the GFS parallel, the strongest advocate of that snow across the northeast. Look at this. This would be interesting to see, almost like a full-on blizzard across the northeast with that. We'll have to see, may or may not occur, but all the models have different stories, and you can see the GFS parallel likes to keep things active. So we'll have to see. But if you recall, the European did show at the beginning, a couple weeks ago, the storm that's going on right now. It showed it having an impact on the northeast, so it's interesting to see if that actually will happen. This is the Canadian model, generally the same, same outlook, moves to the south. It does include a bit more snow, kind of sticks that band of snow together more uniformly into Oklahoma, Texas, much of Kansas, Colorado, Wyoming. Colorado, New Mexico, seeing a good, again, amount of snow. Lots of sleet mixing in with this model especially. All the models are showing wintry precip, not just snow and rain. So it's definitely a concern, but this one especially. And then it finally moves to the north, and you can see that the Canadian started showing some snow with this. And if you were to go even to the midnight one, or the one yesterday, it was a completely different story. Not much precipitation, even the one 12 hours prior to the one I showed you. Almost nothing. So it's been definitely trending some models towards the snowier aspect of this. And if we were to further look at the total snowfalls again, I wanted to show you that total snowfall. You could see that we have quite a bit of snow, some high amounts of snow. Again, more centered across the mountains with the Canadian rather than the, say, the GFS parallel, puts it more out here. Those are the differences we'll have to watch for. But look at that, it shows quite a bit of snow across these locations, and that definitely could be impressive if that happens. Let's take a look at the European model before we go. So I've pulled up the European model, and let's go through this quickly. Generally the same event as of right now. We see the snowfall moving to the south. The difference we see with the European is just, well, not really different at this point. We saw a difference with the European a couple days ago when it was only one of the few models that showed the really heavy snow across these locations, and the rest of the models have trended that way. The European was an advocate of heavy snow, and I was a bit skeptical, but it seemed to be right, and it proved itself as the storm overperformed. And notice that it continues showing that tomorrow in the morning, you could see early 2 o'clock in the morning, probably still be up at that time. My crazy sleep schedule. Notice Colorado seeing lots of snow, Kansas, Nebraska. This will be a bit random. It's not really, the models haven't done a good job with this. So yes, this general area will be seeing snow, but exactly which cities will be under a band at what time is just almost impossible. You can see that the European ejects some snow into portions right there of Illinois, Iowa. Whether or not that stays more or less organized is very hard to tell. This is a very dry environment across some of these locations, so that snow may have a hard time coming through. But again, this system already threw many curveballs. Kansas, Missouri, seeing some possibly very heavy snow according to the European at around tomorrow 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That moves on to the east. Then we start seeing snow across Texas, New Mexico, Kansas, Oklahoma, Panhandle, and this thing develops into a very powerful snowfall amounts. Lots of snow falling and lots of ice. This continues all the way into Wednesday morning, and we finally see it push out and still attacking those areas with that snow. Doesn't want to get rid of it. And then the European pushes the storm into the northeast, and it does include a bit of mixing right there. You can see more than it has for sure in the previous model runs of this European. So it's trending towards a snowy scenario. Whether or not it gets actually a winter storm level criteria, we'll have to see. Total snowfall with the European model, again, is pretty impressive. It has been impressive this whole time. And if you look at some of these amounts, they are substantial, especially in the border of New Mexico, Colorado. Many locations seeing 2 feet plus of snow, especially the higher elevations, but even the lower elevations, Amarillo, the Plains, seeing some locations over a foot. Kansas also seeing quite a bit, even pushing into Illinois, eastern Iowa. So definitely interesting, and you have to keep this monitoring, keep this on your eye, because a lot of this is still up to change. Notice we have Kansas City. They have a winter weather advisory, most likely with to do the heavy burst of snow the Europeans showed there. 1 to 2, maybe even 3 inches. It quickly dwindles again, but it could still kind of have a few surprises. I just want to quickly show you how impressive this mountain snow is. If you look at the total snow, some of these locations definitely in that forecasting range that the models showed, 30 to 36 inches. Denver seeing 6 to 8, a bit more depending on the exact setup of the storm and how it occurs. You can see right there they have winter storm watches across much of southern Texas. The Panhandle is relatively still snow-free, or in terms of their outlook, they don't have a winter storm watch because, again, this could be a long-lasting event, and you could see snow, sleet, but really the heavy snow may fall Tuesday night, and that's a bit far away still. And just a lot of locations seeing snow. You can see Wisconsin right now seeing snow, light snow, dusting. and generally I would say 1 to 2 inches, maybe 1 to 3, less than half an inch at this point, but they probably did get 1 to 2. And that's basically it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all guys on the next episode. I'll just busy myself looking through these different weather offices and what they have to say. See ya.